Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome first of all to the next NSL live talk. Good morning is actually counts only for from Drew and myself. For Gary and Jeremy, it is good afternoon. So let me introduce first. On the top left, we have Andrew Starr, team captain of the Golden Knights. You can see that easily there on his chest. Then on the bottom left, we have Gary Smith. Welcome and thanks
Good
for
morning, Kurt.
Gary. Bottom right, Jeremy Rollet from France, visiting from France and coach of the Qatar Falcons. We have a topic that we have not really talked much about yet, and that is the 8-way competition at the Shamrock Showdown. It's been a while on live talk anyway, and I'm excited to talk with you about this because we have real experts here. Andrew Starr on the top left, multiple world champion in 8-way. In fact, this is the first world championship where you will not compete, right?
Yeah, this is it feels really bad. Yeah, this is the first world meet I've missed since 2010.
And you have won in 2012, 2014, 16, 18, all of them, some as with video, most of them now as active competitor. And then the first one, gosh, your heart must be bleeding.
Yeah, there was a small ray of hope there when I was with Rhythm for that short period that at least I wouldn't miss this world meet, but circumstances changed there. So now I'm going to be watching NSL on the sidelines and rooting for the United States.
I'm sorry to hear that. Anyhow, so before we go to our 8-way topic, is there anything that we need to know from Golden Knights headquarters that that is not related to 8-way directly, or what's the situation in North Carolina?
Well, we've been focused primarily on 4-way training. We're still working through, unfortunately, some Army processes that kept us from attending the Shamrock. We'd love to be on this leaderboard with these other incredible teams, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. And those same processes have kind of kept us from training 8-way lately too. So we've been using this time to focus on 4-way and train our junior competitors, our new personnel that we brought on at the end of last year, and kind of grow them for their eventual slot assignments in the 8-way.
Thanks for the update. 4-way, main thing. So Gary, on the bottom, what do we need to know from your headquarters from Texas in the Netherlands? What's important to know?
The summer hasn't arrived here yet, and not much to know from here. No, Qatar trained before the Tigers. We trained before Ramadan, and we tried to do the Shamrock. We got some rounds, but to be honest with you, we hadn't trained for a while. So we did some B slot. We were in the tunnel more. We came out. We did some of the jumps. We did not do them in order. And then the last 2 days we had Tramontana. We had winds. So that we went back into the tunnel. So unfortunately, we did not complete the 4-way meet. And then since then they have been in Ramadan. So the plan would be to start next week back in Spain, back in Empuriabrava, Brava, to do a camp. But the biggest thing right now is jump numbers. They need to jump because they're so far behind on jumps. And I think that would be the same for Hayabusa. Hayabusa has just finished a camp in Empuriabrava. Brava. I'm sure they'll give you an update on it. But also jump numbers, they need. The biggest thing for them, it's yes, exits with a new guy, but jump numbers. So, I think the US teams have a big advantage in the sense that they never shut down, and the jump numbers will count, So I think right now everyone is trying to, you can never catch up what you've lost, but you can't go to a world meet with 300 jumps. You need more than that.
And Gary is here with us to talk about 8-way as a topic for a good reason. You know, I mean, first of all, you know everything about everything anyway in formation skydiving.
Not so much 8-way.
But you are only a 4-way world champion.
Yeah, yeah.
But you are also the predecessor of Jeremy with the Qatar 8-way team. So you've been coaching on, you know, on the top level. And in fact, you are still the reigning bronze medalist from the last World Championship in 8-way.
Yeah.
We cannot forget that. Gary is a 4-way guy. He coaches the Tigers and Hayabusa and all that. But he knows a little bit about 8-way too. Sorry, I compared to you. You know,
yeah, and I must be honest, I'm going to jump in very quickly. But
yeah.
Watching the Qatar Falcons doing 8-way, it's great for me because I know every body position in there. So without even watching the slot, you can almost pick up from body position who is who. But it's great for me to see the progress that they've made. And then obviously compliment to Jeremy. I think he's done a fantastic job. But we knew that because Jeremy came in with a lot more 8-way experience than what I had. I was kind of learning as I was going. And I was always honest with the team. But I think by watching them now, I think Jeremy's done fantastic with them.
And so there he is, Jeremy Rollet on the bottom right. He is the current coach of the Qatar's 8-way team, the Falcons. And he's also a multiple world champion from 2006 and 2008 with France. And then in the 4-way world champion team of 2010. Thanks also, merci beaucoup, Jeremy, to be here. And it is interesting. We have, you know, 2 8-way world champions here, but you have never competed against each other, right? Drew and Jeremy?
No, he is too young.
Yeah. So, what do we have to know from you, Jeremy, before we go to the 8-way topic from France? You are in France, right? Not in Qatar or in Spain or Ampuri or anything. You're at home now.
Yes. Well, as Gary said, we have quite the same schedule. Before Ramadan, we did the long camp in Spain as well. So we're gonna restart next week as well in Spain, in Seville, not in Ampolla like Tigers, but in Seville for 4 weeks. So we have 2 more camps prior the World Meet. So it will be one in Seville for 1 month and a shorter one in July in Ampolla, brother. So there is no more tunnel for us before the World Meet, only as Gary said, jumps, and try to fix exits and all the things.
Well, I can't wait to see the next jumps, in fact, because we have seen the first 4 rounds, but I do remember that you said of the Shamrock rounds, you know, that it got better and better towards the end. So we will now soon judge them and then post them, and I'm really excited to watch, you know, what the later rounds are bringing. But let's look at the leaderboard first of all. We are here to discuss the first 4 rounds of the Shamrock Showdown. I mean, which turned into a Shamrock Showdown cloud. To recall that just in a nutshell, Shamrock Showdown was supposed to be a live event, and it was supposed to be a live event with literally with all the teams who are in 8-way on the leaderboard now being in the Zephyr Hills, you know, the French, the Qatar team, the Golden Knights. And eventually there was only one team because the pandemic made it impossible to travel and to be there for the live event. XP8 completed the 4 rounds in live in Zephyr Hills at Skydive City, and the other teams did it at home or wherever they could. The 4 rounds that the 4 rounds that we see from the other teams leaderboard. So the leaderboard after round 4 in 8-way was a little bit surprising, right? I'm pulling it up here now. This is how it is after round 4, and France is in first place, 6 points ahead of the Russian team from Tanai, and then XP8 and Qatar Falcons in I mean, XP8 2 more points behind Russia, and then the Falcons a little bit further behind right now. Was that leaderboard surprising for you when you saw it the first time with all complete scores? Let's start with Drew on the top left.
I don't think it was terribly surprising. We knew the French team was going to be, I think, the strongest earliest in the year. I'm a little surprised between how Russia and the United States fell on the leaderboard. I would have assumed that would have been flipped, but no big surprise to me that France is on top.
Was it the same for you, Gary and Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not surprised France is doing so well. I mean, I expected it from them. I know that they are good four-way flyers in there, and even though the French four-way open team has got two new guys in there, those I've seen them in the tunnel. They can fly, and the other two guys, Damien and Kevin, were in Australia in a four-way team, placing third. So, I mean, those guys are good flyers. And then you pick up the girls. So, and under the leadership of Mathieu, for sure, it's going to be, and that to me is my biggest debrief on the video. They're fast flyers. That's the quickest team out there right now. And to be honest with you, that's another topic, because what do the other teams need to do to catch up to these guys? So, and I think between XP8, I just think it's the busts really that caught them. I also think they are right now a little bit better than Tanai, because if you put the scores all equal there, they're kind of on the same speed, but I think XP8 is that fraction better, a fraction cleaner than the Russians. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and we're looking at round 1 now, which was the fastest round of the meet. I'm sure that that you have looked at the jumps before, and I know nothing about 8-way, so please, what do you see? It is so exciting. This was one of the fastest rounds we've seen in the Drew, you own the standing world record, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So with what was it, 30?
30.
So when you see the fast round here, was it possible to get beyond the standing record, and how do you compare it to the sequence, to your own record that you had?
Yeah, I think it was possible to get close. A 34 may have been on the table, but you got to have a pretty clean skydive. I think what held the French back from getting close to that number was just the size. To me, that jump looked just very big. I think the engineering was right. I think they took the best engineering out of the three. I think that's what I would have elected for the Golden Knights to take. But I think it just got just a little bit big, especially in the first couple of pages, with maybe some loss of center focus that made some lost time there. But yeah, I think a 33 would have been on the table there.
We saw a few busts for the Russian team and for the French team, and in fact, if we look at the red numbers here, we had point deductions for all the top teams, all the three in the medal positions, all with 2 points. So let's look at SB here too, and then the Falcons with 3 points. Nobody came through that fast round without a penalty there. I'm sure you see them. Some of them I couldn't see. My eyes are not as well trained as yours are, so maybe you can help with that a little bit. Except, oh, here we go. So here's XP8 also on 2 points. We can go back to the other videos. I would be curious, or maybe you can just say what you saw for the penalties. Schmitty, we haven't heard from you yet about.
I must be honest, I've watched all these jumps twice now. I watched them again. And of course, the penalties on 8-way, especially on this one, it's the separation on this jump from the J to the 3 and inside the block 3. And also there's some people picking up grips very fast from the 3 to the 1. But you know, and I think on a fast jump like this, as long as you keep your rhythm and the penalties are not breaking your rhythm, you'll still land and feel comfortable with the jump. A team like Qatar Falcons, they lost 3 points on the jump, but to me, speed-wise, on some of the stuff, they were not that far behind. It's just that their penalties were creating rhythm breakers. There was one side going a little bit fast, and that created some of the rhythm breaker, where the French, they got 32 in grand total, and the Russians 21, and the XP 8 or 30. So there's not that much difference in the jump. So you can, every so often you'll see on a jump like this, it's not really a big brain lock or something that gets, it's just separation, time off grips that's costing them. Somebody's picking up a grip too fast.
Yeah, Jeremy, here's your team now.
Yes, it's true, because when they land after this jump, they were very happy with the performance. And the landing area, they said, "Oh, very great job, fast round, and we did it great." And then when we watched the video, we saw exactly what Gary said: the separation between a J to under 3 to 1 guy in tail, and we are happy with -3. For me, it's -5 or more maybe, because each pages he did the same thing. He don't follow the key. The break is not long enough, and he catch the one. So it's a big mistake. And to be honest, with the Russian and France, I didn't saw all the burst. So, but yes, as long as you can keep your rhythm, it's good. You are still alive, and then it's a game. But all the team did a great start. Also, the Russian exit is very fast. I didn't time it.
Yes.
But, it's very impressive. All the jumps, it was very good exit from Russia, France as well. So it was a good start for everybody, but for us, it was, we are lucky with -3, because it could be.
So did you see Drew and Gary, would you agree? I mean, it's obviously not a casual judging, and no surprise here, because the judges are, you know, some of the best that we have in the sports. But you would agree, you saw, is there anything that you would argue if you were the coach? Drew, Gary.
I mean, I think I can't recall Russia's bus off the top of my head, but I know the French and US bus kind of stuck out in my head. And I think Gary's absolutely right. The first opening rounds from the United States looked very timid to me, and didn't look exactly like the quality of skydiving that I would expect from some of the seasoned competitors there. And whether it's just a nerves first 8-way competition thing, or just the rhythm breakers with the glitches, I would have expected, even though I wasn't wild about the engineering, you know, with the lefty J kind of being engineered around as the constraint there. I saw a lack of fire in the first round that I think is what cost the US.
Gary is nodding and writing notes.
That's to get some lunch served to me. No. No, I mean, it's just a summary for later, but the US exit is also, they've only got what it looks like, they're pulling out one standard exit. And that's a bit surprising for me, that even the Qatar Falcons have got the round exit thanks to Jeremy. And you can see that the Russians and the French are, for me, way quicker into the first point on some of it. Even the next jump, that the US do okay into the queue, but watch how fast the other teams are. You know, so I think that's one thing that as the US, they could go, and especially in 8-way, you do the same. You can have a handful of exits, and if you're doing 80 jumps in a training camp, you can knock them out so quickly. So I was a bit surprised that the US did not have the round exit, or as we call the Russian exit, but the French executed it very well. And then, as Drew said, I think this meet, and this goes to you, Kurt, for organizing these meets, four-way and eight-way, the US team has gained experience from this competition. And thank goodness they went out in round 1 and 2 a little bit hesitant, a little bit slow. They gained experience because they know that if they go into a world meet like this in round 1, you cannot start to meet like this. You've got to attack a jump like this. So I think they gained experience from it. And yeah, I kind of ditto what Drew said. They looked a little bit tentative. They had too many mistakes in the beginning.
So we're gonna let's compare the exits. We have XV8 here, and that's a traditional 8-way exit, right? That everybody has in the bag. Jeremy,
I'm looking at the wrong screen. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, it's a faster setup for the first point for most of, not most, but block 118. They use it more than us. I think for more randoms and blocks, they use this kind of exit. It's maybe their standard one for the Russian team.
Yeah.
And we use it to go faster with yes, 1, 4, 18, all these things. But they did a great. What is it? It's US team, eh? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's yes.
Yes, they get -3 on this jump. So as Drew said, they are fast as well as the others. This is not a problem with the speed, but yes, -3. It starts to be a big gap with the top score.
Painful for any team. Oh wait, no matter what, 3-point deductions is painful.
The French team, they had the slow start with the first page, is quite slow.
Different exit here, right? I mean, obviously.
That's the round one. That's the round exit that you'll see the Russians bring that one as well.
I want to, let's see if I
And
can.
then they fight a little bit with the first Q, the first K and H, but then they did a great job.
Yeah, what I was going to jump in here with the speed of the French. They had definitely a slower first page and 1.5 pages, but then thereafter, once this jump gets going, they catch everything up. So they end up, I think, 1 point off with 2 busts, and the US were ahead with 3 busts. But in raw score, the French were only 1 point slower. But once this jump starts to go, it's going quicker than the others per page. Is my guess. I haven't timed page by page. But the French lose it in the first 10 seconds of this jump.
Yeah, and here we see the difference on on this exit now. That's the round form compared to the that we just saw. So let's look at the winner of the round, which was Tanai, the Tanai 8-way team.
And similar exit as well.
Yeah, they have. Who had this round exit first? Was it Russia or France? Who invented it?
I think Jeremy will know.
We call it Russia, from our side, we call it Russian exit.
Okay. So like the Russian keta chord in 4-way, right? So some things were invented in Russia, no doubt.
Yeah.
This was probably Russia's most solid jump. You know, there's still small glitches in it, but it's a solid jump for them. They have a good rhythm. Yeah, I mean, that's all I had with this jump really for them. It gets the rhythm and it doesn't break down.
Yeah, the things that stood out for me most from the Russian team was that and the US has it to an extent, but they had other issues going on in the first couple rounds. But it seems like the Russian jumps in the first couple rounds could mostly fit in the tunnel. And that's something we always talked about on the Golden Knights was even though we're in the sky, making each jump as small as possible to fit in the tunnel. And it kind of lends to their synchronicity and key anticipation. I'm not sure I would have kept the centers of the Q rolling into the center of the K there. I think that's a lot to ask that outfacer to do. And I kind of noticed that the Russians tend to sit in the K just a little bit longer than the French and US teams do. As they're punching that corner of the Q into the K. And that's something that we like to do on the Golden Knights as well. It makes it an impact key. You can kind of check it on the way in, and you're not wasting a lot of time sitting in the K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
First round and this round, they didn't choose the same engineering as the others. It's a little bit longer, I think, but maybe they better like this.
And we had the Falcons were, I don't know, they didn't catch so many penalties, I believe, than the other teams, but they had a slower round, obviously. So this is where experience probably kicks in.
On the hill. On the hill. You'll see it here.
We lose one guy on the exit.
And here. And I think the D.
And then, yeah, it's, at the end of the jump, it's good, but it's out of time, and it takes too much time to be fast. So
yeah.
Yes.
So I think on a random sequence. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was going to go after the 8th. Now onto the 3rd, 4th page. Now it starts to go good.
Yeah.
So after the first 2 rounds, those were the fast rounds. The surprise was already happening at that time after 2 rounds that we saw that France had taken the lead, and
or round 3 is quick, eh? In 8-way, Kurt. You'll see the French knock that jump as well. Round 3, they score more than round 2.
Let's keep looking then, because it is surely the best part of everything, always the jumps themselves. So let's continue with round 3. So then we had basically, Gary is saying, we had basically 3 pretty fast rounds.
Yeah. Well, when 8-way randoms are never going to be as fast as in 4-way. You know, the round 1 with the block 1 and 3 is quick, but this one with the 3 randoms and the 22 the French execute, I mean, it's never going to become a world record because you've got 3 randoms in there. But the French executed very well, and they have the different engineering where the different block 22, where the centers come into the 22 and hop. You'll see the 2 from the C, the hourglass, the centers just step straight in, where the US don't. They bring the outsides inside, and that's the engineering that the French favored. But the US also had a little bit of a hiccup in it, and the French, I see, also build the other F. They built the other diamond flake.
Yeah, this 22, we don't use this 22 because the best option is to have both, this one and the other one. But we don't use this one. We want to let the key man on his slot. But yes, with this engineering, it's much faster if we are doing like France.
Yeah.
That was quick out the door again here from the Russians, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Russians are good out the door. For sure, they've got that exit dialed in. There's a little bit of problems.
It's a machine too, the Russian 8-way machine from 10i. When they're dialed in, it looks well.
They just had one problem with the C build. The C build, there was a bit of a traffic jam, and there was a bit of a collision in the build of the C on the top side of the jump. But for the rest, I wrote it down as it's a solid jump. It gets going.
Does it look like the Golden Knights, Drew?
Definitely, no doubt, they found a little bit of flow there. The center's hopping in the 22 has always been something that, you know, we have kind of talked about on the Golden Knights and haven't ever really explored. We tend to like to keep the centers at home. Usually our inside front and our outside rear are our newest members to the team. And so we tend to shy away from putting them in memory as much as we can, where our engineering would have been similar to USA here. We really only have the 122, but I think Gary and Jeremy are right. If we're going to push the boundaries of what's possible in 8-way, you need to have both, and you need to have a center set of pairs that are okay with taking memory and what might be tough vertical moves. Little bit of the centers hopping in the 22s just creates a little bit of traffic out of the C that the centers kind of have to manage. And it takes the US a couple pages to kind of learn to set the correct angle out of the C and manage that traffic. But once they do, it's quick into the 22, and you've only got the two hoppers turning into the F, and I like that.
Drew, you have your former world champion teammate Matt Davidson in the XP, Speed XP8 lineup in there. You spent quite some time with him.
Yeah, and I'm sure Matt's taken a bunch of GK style. Matt and BK both taken a bunch of GK style to Airspeed XP, and I think what the Airspeed guys are bringing over from Kirk with his 8-way time, and then Mikhail and Nick with their 4-way expertise. I think they're going to find a great meshing of 4 and 8-way the longer they stay together and train. So I'm excited to see what this team's capable of, and I'm excited to go up against them at US Nationals this year.
In 8-way, hopefully, right? With a lot of training.
Hopefully.
4-way too, of course. I know you're a 4-way fan, so no, you're not hiding that. You love 4-way too, but we want to see the Golden Knights in 8-way back too, right?
Yeah, we would love to see the Golden Knights back into 8-way, but I'm definitely learning to love 4-way for sure.
Yeah. Jeremy, how was that round for you in round 3 we are now with the Falcons?
We had a better start with the first page, but then we are in trouble with few 22, and sometimes it's too wide to build the start of 22, so we lose time with the building of the block. Otherwise, we fight. It's for me it's a little bit better than the 2 first rounds. It's not perfect, but yeah, the gap is not so big with not with France, but with the others. It's acceptable, I mean.
Yeah, let's take a short break here from watching and talk about this. I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm trying to ask only questions because any commentary would be silly. Speaking with champions and all that kind of stuff, but it looks like the Falcons, from my amateurish point of view, but the pace of the individual moves and the team in certain parts of the jumps look like it's the same pace as the other 3 giants, 8-way giants out there. It looks to me like if it can all be cleaned up, and also where you're not that far behind with the Falcons. Do I see?
Yeah, but that's why we are looking also for the last 6 rounds, because it's not fast as the first ones, and maybe we are not so far. I don't want to say we're gonna win the round, but maybe we are not so far with technical jumps. And but we have to be more consistent with the fast rounds. Yes, they can do it, but if you do it after 20 or 30 seconds in the jump, it's not good for you. So we are not consistent enough. We have to catch the next step with the fast rounds, so we work hard on it. And the blocks, we all know what we want. On the next round, we will do very bad 21, but the Russian also. So it can happen for anybody. But the fast round, you have to be very confident and give your best, be focused. And it's not so easy to fix fast rounds. So I think we are not on their level. It's easy to say on few parts of the jump it looks good, but when you see the result, you are not in the same category.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm just talking about the potential. But Drew, Gary, what's the difference between the 3 giants and the Falcons? What do you see? I mean, Jeremy had his answers for it already, but do you see the same potential? Or
from my side,
Gary?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's your job.
I had something weird with my Wi-Fi here, but sorry. I think the Falcons can fly super fast, and for sure, Jeremy has lifted them up to, let's say they're on a 19 average and right now, and 19 and a half with too many busts. So I think speed-wise they have it, and it just kind of means there's sometimes, if I look at the video, there's too much movement while they build in a block 1. There's still movement in the 1, and when they build in the block 3, it's still moving. Where the other teams, their things are a little bit more stopped. And one other example, for example, when they go from the C in the last round, I think it was C to the 22. It's too wide, but the people are still jumping onto grips on the outside, and that makes things a little bit rougher. Jeremy's one word in describing it was they were fighting through the jump, and I think that would not happen that consistently with an XP8 or say a former Golden Knights or the Russians or the French. They pick their setups better, and there's no panic and waiting for the grips to come to them. Where Qatar's a little bit, because these guys want to go fast and they're eager to do well, they seem to go and fetch the grip sometimes, and instead of just being patient and knowing that the grips will come to them. So I think it's just not necessarily a lack of experience, because they have done a lot of H-way, but they don't have world champions in their team. And the French have it, the Russians have it, and XP8 have got champions in there. And I think with Qatar, they're doing good, and they just need to be patient.
With 2 more 4-week training camps, Drew, what do you see? Where will the Falcons, that team? How far can Jeremy bring them?
I mean, I think the ceiling is high for Qatar. Absolutely. That's something that we always seem to talk about inside the Golden Knight team room whenever we happen to be, at a training camp with them in Florida or something similar. When I started as a competitor, it wasn't long before the Qatar project started. And so I've kind of grown up watching these guys, and the 4-way, I think, is a testament how fast and good and clean they've gotten in the 4-way. I think is a testament to what they can do in the 8-way. So, I think more time, and if the lineup stays together, I think we'll be talking about fights between. We'll see them, in the mix with the other 3 powerhouses. I think the ceiling's very high for Qatar.
Great, that sounds great. Sounds very exciting. I would love to see 4 teams competing for 3 sets of medals. That would be wonderful for the sport and for the excitement. So, well, we'll see. We are rounds 5 to 10. The Falcons will show more of their talents. That we'll see some improvement there. Let's look at round 4 now, and then we are done with this part of the competition, and then hopefully soon continue with more rounds. So round 4 was a slower one, obviously. Start with the highs. Well, let's go from top to bottom. So France is the leader. So let's look at France first of all. It was the slowest of the 4 sequences, right? So who begins with France? Your friends, Jeremy, your former teammate, in action.
They have a fast exit. I didn't time it, but I think it's not so far to the Russian timing as well. It's very quick 18 in exit. The blocks are good. They have a good 21 also. So there is nothing special on this jump. I think that the 21 from Russia was not the best, and that's why there is a small gap between the 2 teams. And it's a good job. It's like the others.
Yeah.
But you'll see, sorry, if to jump in, you'll see at the end of this jump, the French are nearly closing the block 21. So the French are close to the 20th point, and the US just built the 19. So even though it's a slow jump, and there's not much in it, and the US have also good block 21s, which is good. That's where like Jeremy said, that's where the Russians and the Qatar lose it on this round. The block 21s kill them a little bit, but the US just built the 19th, and the French are on their way to finishing it. So they're on their way to 20, and it's a full block in between. So I still think, I believe in the speed that the French have.
Yeah, I think for the French, the 20th was there, maybe even the 21st. I feel like where they lost most of their time was the finish 21 to 18 build. There were a couple glitches in the 18 execution, but the thing that sticks out for me most, maybe as a former video guy, is when the camera shifts quite a bit from the finish of a block to the start of the next random. It indicates to me that they're not building in the correct center point, of the previous block. And I think their time savings was on the long build from the finish 21s to 18s, and that would have got them the bottom of the 21 for sure, maybe even the top of the next 18.
Yeah. Airspeed, I can comment here. I think have one of their more solid jumps here. It's maybe not as fast as the French, but I think it's solid. And I even go back to the previous round of Airspeed. So round 3 and 4 of XP8, sorry, looks stronger than round 1 and 2. So I think that they already after the first 2 rounds start to become a little bit more solid in the jump. Here's the Russians, and I think what's all been said, the 18s are okay, but here they come into big trouble. They block 21s, and this costs them and they get bust. So speed-wise, they're doing an 18, which is in theory not bad, but with the 2 busts, they're down to a 16, so they're losing 3 points on it. And again, block 21 coming up, and there comes a bust, I believe, on this one. No, the previous one, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like the memory here with the outside center pair. I feel like maybe that's what cost them some of the long finishes in the 21s. And there was one long 18 build in particular that was pretty reachy for the B slot outside center. And I'm not sure if the efficiency of the memory helped or hurt them there.
No, agreed.
And that's compared to the Falcons again.
Yeah, we have a very long 21. I was a little bit surprised because in the training it's better than this. But yes, we miss it at least two times. Otherwise, the rest of the jump was not so bad.
Same 21 situation there.
Yeah, and I mean, and they end up 1 point behind Russia. And I know Russia also had a bad jump, but they also, Qatar also had a bad jump on the 21s, so I think it's promising, maybe not for this year, but for the future, that I think these guys, if they can keep it together, it's for sure, as Drew said, there is potential here. That's the best 21, just on the time frame.
That's interesting because 21 is one of the newer blocks in the 8-way dive pool. I mean, it's not really new now anymore, but it's one of the blocks that has been in the dive pool only for how long? Drew, you're the expert probably on that.
I want to say it was the 2016 World Meet. We had 21s. I want to say it was after 12. After 12, we lost Pod I and Wagas, and we got the pods and the cranks.
Mm-hmm. It is probably, I don't know if it has any meaning, but all the blocks which have been in there for decades, everybody knows them in and out, and I can imagine that for familiarity has something to do with it. And on the other hand, if we have had it already since 2014, the team.
It's a tough block, Kurt, because you've got.
Yeah, in the beginning.
No, go, Drew.
Well, in the beginning, the Golden Knights absolutely hated 21s. We thought it was horrible, just with the size of it. We couldn't keep it small, and over time we learned to keep it small, and then figured out you can punch the outside or the inside rear in there, or you can punch the inside front in there. It doesn't have to be a center build 21. And then we started to like it for the engineering challenges and what we could do with the engineering. But if you can't keep the 21 small, it's going to bite you every time.
Surely not a tunnel block. Doesn't even fit into a 16-foot chamber.
No.
So Gary, you had something for us too there.
No, I was just going to say in four-way. I mean, what block 21 is it's two block 4 pieces, the three-way, the monopod pieces, and you need to build them next to each other that people are not colliding when they build. And then they need to almost cog with each other and finish at the same time. If one piece shifts off, there's no ways that you can finish that. And then you've got a cat on the front that's rotating 360. So if one piece moves a little bit, then there goes your finish. You know, so it's in a, sometimes, as Jeremy said, Qatar in the training, they did well in it. And all of a sudden, if one person puts too much power into rotation or translation, they slide one piece too much, and then that's it. You're going to lose 2, 3, 4 seconds at the end of it because you have to fly a whole piece back. So it's I mean, I can't say I don't like it, but I can understand that it's a tough block. And the fact that Russia has problems with it, I'm sure XP or the French will also show videos of a 21 that goes bad. I think it's not an easy block at all.
Watching especially the last airspeed XP8 round, it reminded me that they were actually at the real competition at Skylab City. Weather wasn't great, you know, the waiting time, switching back and forth between 4-way, 8-way. They were the only of the 4 teams that we've seen here now. That was the only team that was really live at the competition side. So my question now for the discussion would be, what difference does it make? What are the advantages of being in that situation, on site, live, dealing with all the logistics, weather, blah, blah, or doing it in your own training camp at your own location, wherever you are for doing it? What is the difference? Let's start. Let's go in order. So, Drew, what would you think?
You know, I think it probably comes out in the wash. I think if you're at the competition site, you maybe have a little bit of an advantage because it's more the sense of urgency is more immediate. You feel like you're at a competition. You can have the stress, the good stress that makes you hone in on what the jump is, and it keeps you, it keeps you primed in the sequences. And I think those stressors are great. And you can only get those stressors at a meet. You can't get it at your home drop zone, at a training camp. And then on the other side, if you are at your home drop zone, maybe you're not dealing with the travel logistics, and maybe you're more rested, and things are more familiar. But I think at the end of the day, you've got to put 50 seconds of work in no matter where you're at. And for competitors at this level, I don't see much of a benefit one way or the other.
A wash. For Drew, it seems to be a wash. Jeremy, what do you think?
You're right. It's a good question. It's totally different. When you do it on your side, you can control the timing. If you have a B-slot jump or something like this, you can take more time. But on the other hand, I think when you are in a live competition like Shamrock on the weekend, it's helping you to be focused 100%, to give your best, to feel the competition energy. And when you are doing this draw in the training, you have to build it by yourself. So it's totally different. When you are in the Shamrock, everything is done around you to show you that you are in competition. In the training, you have to make the job by yourself, to say, hey, now this is a competition jump, and all the environment is the same as the normal training. So you have to switch, and you have to do something by yourself to feel this is a competition.
And Gary,
I think both Drew and Jeremy have basically brought up all my points. So I'm just going to be kind of reiterating it. So I don't want to do that. I just think being at the meet is invaluable experience. Like both XP8 and Arizona Airspeed 4-way will have another competition in the bag. And that fact of sitting in the plane, knowing that this is it and the whole world is watching your scores, that's invaluable. No other team had that. And then I think what I always like to do or wanted to do is if you're on your home drop zone and you're doing a Shamrock meets is to have the luxury of saying we're going to do one jump every 20 minutes or no back-to-backs. But what we had with Tigers, that was my dream scenario with Tigers. We had bad weather in the beginning. We had tunnel. The drop zone was not open because of COVID. When it opened, we had Tramontana for 3 days. So now you start to think, well, we still need to go to a Mondial. You have to train. So it's very difficult to create that scenario. But having said that, the Qatar four-way, if I go into their jumps, they were not as good as the training jumps. So we all thought, whoa, we need more competitions, because all of a sudden, if you look at some of their block 18s, they're just rotating them, and that's not how we trained them. So all of a sudden, when you get into a competition experience, even though you're sitting on your home drop zone, there was a little bit of, oh, we have to go faster. We need to make a good jump. So there is that pressure. And then all of a sudden you lose a little bit of your technique and your clean. So for me, the sloppiness that you see on the Qatar Tigers jumps, we don't have that often in training. And is it because they didn't meet? So I know for sure with the Tigers, I will be doing every training camp from now until Russia. We will do at least a 6-round meet somewhere. We'll find a meet and just do it, just to put them under that pressure.
All right, we have 4 minutes until Drew has to get ready for dirt diving out there.
Hey, lucky man.
We just spent an hour easy like that. I am so grateful, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us with a debriefing. And I'm hoping very much that maybe we can even have the same panel once we have seen the remaining jumps. So we will continue with it now. We will see more French jumps. We will see more Qatar Falcon jumps. And I'm very grateful that we get this opportunity. Hopefully also more XP8 jumps, hopefully also more Russian jumps. We will see about that. But we will continue with it. Sorry?
Do we know if the US, has the US done the jumps? Because they were in the Shamrock, they were going to go back to North Carolina. Did they do the jumps at all? Did they have a training camp?
They have trained. So, you know, I cannot say really. I mean, you know, okay. I wait until I get videos and then I have them or not. So
okay.
That's up to the teams, you know, how they participate. So that I'm not asking the details of it. So hopefully we'll have that and soon, so we don't have to wait again for so long, because it's exciting. The most, you know, the best part is to watch those incredible 8-way jumps, and I hope that we'll have all 4 teams in Tanai in August, and that we'll see more of it and talk more about it than while watching the jump.
Yeah, so again, a big learn from the last few days. There is a world meet. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a world meet. Right. Yeah. That's luckily at least we have one obstacle out of the way. You know, the doping issue. So we have official announcement. We do have FAI Tanai Mondial 2021. So let's hope for the best. It's all gonna work well. Okay, well, again, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Danke.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Kurt.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks for having us, Kurt.
Whatever you've got left there.